This is apparently the DVD menu music for the Iron Giant. I don't know what the fuck this music is.
Are you guys ready for a great picture? Here you go.
Oh, well, I'm not even showing it, but yeah, we can insert it.
So I don't know what to say.
Yeah, look, I mean, you go. You have more of a story here, I guess.
Right. Okay. So here's my experience with this movie. I have not seen the movie, but when I was a kid, in year 3, we read the book. And now many of you will be going, the book? What do you mean the book? I thought this was an original movie. Nope. It's based on a book by a famed, acclaimed British author called Ted Hughes, called The Iron Man. I think it came out in the 70s or maybe the 60s. I don't remember. It's like a children's classic here, though I think it's rather obscure.
From what I've heard, this book is batshit insane.
Yeah, so, we read this book, and the plot of the book is a strange metal robot guy crash lands on the Earth and befriends, a young boy. I think the name is still the same. I think Hogarth is from the book, but it's been so long that I don't remember. I think we would have pronounced it Hogarth as well in class. But anyway, so
better or worse name than Helmholtz?
I don't know. They're both pretty bad. But the kid befriends this robot. He's trying to keep it a secret. The robot needs to eat like cars and stuff to like get sources of metal. And then, a space bat angel dragon shows up and is gonna threaten the lives of everybody on Earth. And so the Iron Giant challenges it to a contest of strength and skill and all these things, and manages to defeat it and makes it agree to leave the Earth and not bother the citizens anymore. And then it flies off into the night sky and sings a song of the cosmos that brings everybody together, and a war stops.
Just like in the movie.
Yeah, and I do have an idea of what the plot of the movie is, and it's not that. The first part is, I think, the same, with the robot showing up and eating cars. And then I think it's just the government thinks it's a threat, and they fire a missile, and then it stops the missile. That's my understanding of the movie.
Yeah. I guess you reduce down to its base components.
If there's anything else to it, I haven't heard about it, but...
Well, you do at least know that Kent Mansley works for the government.
Yes.
I've made sure that you know that.
So, I mean, the book is kind of weird, but I never really thought of it as... I was just like, yeah, it's got some weird stuff in it, but lots of kids' books have weird stuff in them, and... it was quite surprising to me to learn that this adaptation is so different, to the point that I kind of question why it's even an adaptation. But I guess it does keep some stuff. It's just it's weird to me that they changed it so much. I don't know.
Yeah, this movie's a lot more grounded. Aside from the fact that there's a giant robot, it could it's a thing that could reasonably happen. But
yeah.
So. Yeah, I really love this movie. I never saw it in the theater or anything. I don't know when I first watched it. It has this weird reputation of just, for some reason, I think it's Cartoon Network does a 24-hour marathon of it every Thanksgiving. I couldn't tell you why. My best guess is it's just hey, it's Thanksgiving, don't watch TV, spend time with your family. So, maybe watch the movie once and then do something else. It's kind of weird, but I don't know what it has to do with Thanksgiving either. But yeah, I don't really have any interesting stories involving when I first saw it or anything significant about it. It's a really good movie. It was my brothers would always just put movies on repeat, and often they were shitty ones, but, there were some good ones in there, too. This was one of them, so I've seen it a billion times because of that.
I know it's a Brad Bird movie, right?
I believe so.
and who went on to do The Incredibles and some other Pixar stuff, and other things as well, I think. But
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
it's a good case of a movie that, an animated movie that isn't Disney, that is incredibly well regarded, and
I actually don't know which studio did this.
it's just Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, without watching it and having more specific
Directorial
things
debut,
to,
Dan.
it's a good one to start out with. Yeah, without having stuff to talk about the movie specifically with you, I don't know if I have a whole lot more to go into here. It's just when we
There are a couple other things I could say, I guess.
Sure.
Which is so I never saw the movie for the longest time, and then sometime around 2014 I was in a supermarket and they had like a rack of DVDs including this movie, and I was just like, oh, I've heard good things about this, let me buy this DVD for, I think it was £7, and I'm like, let me buy this DVD and maybe I'll watch it later. And well, it's been 11 years, but I'm finally getting around to watching it, and I'm using the very same DVD that I
with
bought,
whatever the hell that menu music is.
just to get my money's worth. I do like it when stuff like this happens. Like, I think I bought the Metroid Prime trilogy also in 2014, and then I hardly played it until I did, my LPs of those games in 2021, 22, and 23. So, once again, just, being resourceful and making use of really, really old purchases. Yeah. Not that we would have been starved for options to watch this movie anyway, because I've been, sailing the high seas to find copies of the other movies. But I don't know. It's always nice to have physical media, I think.
Yeah.
And be able to do that. I am worried about the disk drive potentially crapping out on us during this, and the quality doesn't look super great, but I don't know.
The quality of this picture doesn't look super great.
The last thing I want to mention is the book actually had a sequel as well, which was even weirder, believe it or not. I mean, I guess it's questionable. It's maybe it's not as weird. It's hard to say, but the sequel was The Iron Woman, in which a mysterious metal humanoid, this time feminine in appearance, crashes on Earth and befriends a young girl. And then I think there's some shit about like the town's water supply is being poisoned by some local, not poisoned, but directly, but like
Somebody's
contaminated, I guess,
the
by
water hole.
being contaminated by some like, generic corporation dumping toxic waste into the river or something.
Of course.
And the Iron Woman and the girl try to team up to stop this, and then also every man on Earth of age 18 and above transforms into a fish.
Oh. I kind of remembered the giant giraffe alien dinosaur cow from the first movie. I didn't remember everybody turning into a fish in this one.
But... No, it's every man turns into a fish. The women and children, they don't turn into fish.
No, I got that, but yeah.
I like the Space Bat Angel Dragon. It's stuck in my memory. They have a description of it that's very vague and yet very evocative at the same time, where it's like it's all black and it's covered in, it's either fur or feathers or something, and it just has this really strange appearance. Like, it's an alien, but it's not like a typical like, weird gray, kind of scaly alien or whatever. It's just like, it's like a creature, and it's just this gigantic fucking mass. Like, there's several chapters of build-up where they're just like, astronomers noticed something strange approaching us, so we can't really see what it is yet. And then eventually, they're able to see that it's the silhouette of some kind of winged creature, and it looks like multiple different things, and people end up just calling it the Space Bat Angel Dragon.
This just reminds me of a bit from Dr. McNinja, where it's like they were looking out in space and they saw these like horrible octopus creatures or something, and they're like, but it turns out that we made a substantial miscalculation in size. And it's like, oh, what? So it turned out to be microscopic or something? It's like, no, they're planet-sized. We're just hoping they don't notice us.
God.
Also, I realized partway, in like the last minute, that I fucking bungled my chance to say that I discovered this movie when I was 9 years old and watching TV. So just pretend that I made that joke.
Yeah. Just because I don't want to talk about this after we've already watched the movie, I went to the Wikipedia just to get a more clear and specific description of what exactly happens at the end, because it's very strange. So the Space Angel Dragon shows up and basically, here it says, demands that humanity provide him with food, that is anything alive, or he will take it by force. And the armies try to fight it, and it doesn't work. So the Iron Man shows up, and let's see. The Iron Man challenges the creature to a contest of strength, where if the Iron Man can withstand the heat of burning petroleum for longer than the creature can withstand the heat of the sun, then the creature must obey the Iron Man's commands forevermore. If the Iron Man melts or is afraid of melting before the space being undergoes or fears pain in the sun, then the creature has permission to devour the whole Earth. After playing the game for 2 rounds, the dragon is so badly burnt that it no longer appears physically frightening, but the Iron Man, by contrast, only has a deformed earlobe to show for his pains. The alien creature admits defeat. When asked why he came to Earth, he reveals that he is a peaceful star spirit who experienced excitement about the ongoing sights and sounds produced by the violent warfare of humanity. In his own life, he was a singer of the music of the spheres, the harmony of his kind that keeps the cosmos in balance and stable equilibrium. And then the Iron Man orders the dragon to sing to the inhabitants of Earth, flying just behind the sunset to help soothe humanity towards a sense of peace. And the beauty of the music distracts the populace from its egocentrism and its tendency to fight, causing the first worldwide lasting peace. I have no idea what the fuck this is the deal with this book. It's really weird.
It seems very whimsical. I'll put it that way.
I don't know. I liked it. It was a fun book.
I mean, I like weird ass books sometimes, but yeah. I suppose we should probably watch the movie. Yep. Or we could look at Alien Encounters.
Yeah, there's a thing on this DVD menu that just says Alien Encounters, and I think it's just like, oh shit. It's like a special features thing that has, I want to say, the making of a trailer and like a music video for something.
Good.
I don't know why it's called Alien Encounters.
This DVD is jank as hell, but yeah. See you on the other side, I guess. Okay, well, I cried again. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm not gonna do my fun movie bit because it's I don't feel like it's really appropriate. What I will point out, and I think there's a good way for me to segue into this, is I was putting the disc away and I looked at the front of the box. And the front of the box, the quote that they give is from the Daily Star. It says, 18-karat gold fun for kids. And I'm like, this is not a fun robot movie. Like, this is not like a, oh man, epic, awesome action and fun time. Like, this is a serious movie with a serious message. And, which is not to say that it's not,
it has
and fun stuff.
It is a fun movie, but it's also a more serious movie.
I'm trying not to be too hyperbolic for the YouTubes here, but that was really good and really special, and you can tell I feel like there's great movies, and then there's this should be in like a modern they have collections of historically significant film and stuff, or this should go in there. Maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic. I'm
really glad to hear that you like it that much.
I knew that it was well liked, and I knew that people said it had good themes and everything, but that was really masterfully crafted, and just yeah. It's not something I haven't seen kind of, I've seen these themes touched on before, of course, and perhaps with a little bit more kind of depth that you can get out of a feature film runtime, I guess. But for a kid's movie, I feel like everybody should watch this. It's,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'd pretty much agree.
It's not afraid to kind of show very frankly this mature subject matter and kind of make its point at you very, very bluntly. Like it doesn't have a huge amount of subtlety, and I don't think it needs it. It's a kids movie. It's
Yeah,
trying to
the
get
movie, I mean, basically in these exact words say, guns kill. Like, you don't have to be a gun. And, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't even know like to what extent I should get into it, because it's like I assume everyone that's watching this has already seen the movie, so you already kind of know all this. And if you want a deep analysis, there's probably places you can look that
Yeah, that's the problem. Is
more insightful and thought out.
I feel like I'm not qualified to really say what makes the movie good. I just know that it is. It's like it's I don't think it really has any wasted scenes. Like there's some that don't necessarily advance the story, but there's still at least character development and they're fun.
It's not just the violence or gun violence specifically. Even it's paranoia, it's fear of the unknown. It's the Cold War setting makes this abundantly clear, because that was the character of the time is
don't trust anyone.
Don't trust anyone.
I love that speech that Mansley gives in the ice cream shop, where he's just like, the Martians, the Russians, the Chinese, the Canadians, I don't care.
Yeah, just this, shoot first, ask questions later mentality that I think would be hard to disagree is a huge problem in human history, right? Like, right. It's something that I think is important for people to think about, probably from a young age as well. They're gonna very quickly be thrust into a world where this stuff is gonna be relevant and stuff that they should be thinking about. So, it's very emotional as well. Like we keep having this where I don't cry, even though I think typically more emotional than you, but for whatever reason, with art, I don't know, I'm able to hold it together a little more for whatever reason, but. It was definitely impactful to me. It definitely touched me. And I this is the first time where I didn't want to jump straight into the thing. Like I needed to take a few minutes to like just decompress and like collect my thoughts, because it was kind of heavy and it was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess really all we can do then is just kind of go through the movie a bit and just kind of what stuff we like. I did definitely notice that early on, before it started hitting the more heavy material, like we were kind of cracking jokes occasionally. Of course, there's you go out to investigate, you discover you're watching TV, like the stupid references to that. Just little stuff here and there. But then I think I don't know if it was the deer scene where, he kind of like discovers mortality or whatever. I feel like from that point, we basically just didn't speak at all.
No, we were dead silent. Like, we were dead silent throughout the whole rest of it. Really, and for a directorial debut, like, I don't know what kind of film experience Brad Bird had before this, but immediately knocked it out of the park. Like, that was really impressive. I know, of course, there's more that goes into filmmaking than the directing, but yeah, very, very well done in that sense.
I guess I'll also mention before we even get into the story, really good animation. It's
I was especially impressed by just the expressiveness of a lot of the characters, especially Kent.
Kent's got a lot of crazy faces.
A huge range of just insane fucking expressions that,
A minor thing that always stood out to me, again, was actually at the ice cream scene when they're eating it and the inside of their mouths kind of turn, like, white from the ice cream. I thought that was, like, a nice touch.
I will say, I guess on the topic of Ken, because he kind of, before I watched the movie, I didn't know very much about any of the characters other than the giant itself, which is barely a character. Like, he does have a character, but it's kind of to fulfill an archetype of like an innocent outsider,
right?
And I kind of had an idea of what Hogarth would be like, but not fully, because there's a lot of ways to do like plucky kid protagonists or whatever. The one character I did know about was Ken, because he's constantly referenced by you, and I've heard other people reference him as well as being a very memorable character. And I do agree. I do think he was really good. As I mentioned, the expressions were great. He had a very imposing presence, and a good mix of like funny and threatening for a villain.
Yeah, I mean, he fucking chloroforms a kid in this movie. Like,
yeah, he doesn't do anything to him afterwards. He just puts him back in his room. But it's and the transitionary animation to him going and like waking up in bed as well was pretty good from that. I will say I think he got a little weak at the end of the movie with I think it could be. I mentioned before that it's important for people to kind of start grappling with the themes of this movie early on. I think it's a little bit too easy to write him off as just like, oh well, he's nuts, And I think it's important to know that like anybody could, it's a cultural thing. Like this kind of attitude was everywhere. It's not unique to his.
The thing is, honestly, like I've seen the movie enough times to kind of think about it a bit. I don't know if it's just supposed to be that he's paranoid or nuts or whatever. Like there is an aspect to that. I also wonder if it's just he lied about Hogarth dying in order to get the general to attack, and like he's the one who screams launch the missile and stuff. I feel like he's just he wants to be the big shot, like make your fucking Smampton reference, but he wants to make it big, and he's in this position here where he's like going out to this rinky-dink town, doesn't think anything's gonna happen. It's like, this is my shot to like really move up in the ranks or whatever. And
I could see that. I think it's a little bit up to interpretation. They don't really explore much of his like, you don't really get a lot of scenes of him just like alone, like talking to himself or thinking through anything. He's mostly interacting with other people, and he is always putting on some kind of front. Like to Hogarth, he's trying to be nice at first and draw the info out of him. To the other soldiers and stuff, he's always like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely gonna find that evidence or whatever. But then he kind of like curses him out when he puts down the phone, all that type of thing. I don't feel like I have a very clear picture of kind of the core of his being and like why he ended up this way, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I could see it being like he wants kind of the glory and the opportunity to rise the ranks or whatever, but I could just as easily see it as maybe he is just so drenched in that culture of paranoia and fear that he is like, no, I'm definitely terrified that we will die if we don't kill this thing right now.
Which, I mean, to be fair, makes sense. He's fucking
he doesn't
giants
know very much
blasting everything, and like he shot this thing out over the ocean and missed the ship, and it's like this giant fucking explosion. It's like you don't know what this thing's gonna do, but
yeah. But I think it's it's especially meaningful that the giant does only attack in self-defense. Like and I like that they don't explore or really even give a hint as to where the robot is from or where his origin is. He's probably just an alien creation of some kind that somehow ended up stranded in space, I guess. But it's not really expounded on.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I feel like it's kind of implied that he is supposed to be a weapon, and just something happened to make him kind of lose that, and got the bump on the head or whatever, which I don't know how that would interfere with a machine's memory, but whatever. But it's like, he kind of loses that sense, and then
yeah, he's put into he's like a child, as Hogarth says. He's he doesn't know things. He has to learn everything from the ground up, and I guess that's also something is he is exposed to good influences. Like Hogarth is a good kid. He likes heroes and stuff, but you can see from early on that Hogarth is kind of disillusioned with or at least doesn't he doesn't buy into like the culture of like of like the world is full of our enemies and all that type of thing. Like he doesn't seem to really care about that or think about it too much. And importantly, also there's Dean, who I actually really, really like. Dean. I think
Dean is great. Yeah,
I think he's my favorite character.
Honestly, same. I was waiting for us to get to him. Dean's fucking great.
Yeah. He's a really fun combination of like the kind of he's like a reluctant like adult figure that gets dragged into the story by kind of convenience and you know just
Yeah,
this
I mean, he
connection with her
starts
love.
out
But
as just kind of like the cool uncle almost, and
yes,
then
basically,
once things start getting serious towards the end, he does like
he
genuinely
really
care
he
for the
really
kid, and
he impressed me like because he it would have been very easy to just write him as like a this guy that just drops one-liners and like these witty retorts to things. But no, he has a meaningful role in the movie, and I was reading a little bit on Wikipedia after, and apparently Brad Bird thought it was really important to make him like this beatnik, kind of, uh, artistic, like countercultural character because it,
it's the
provides that
foil
that point
to
of contrast
Kent
to
Mansley or anybody else like
yeah,
that.
Ken kind of represents the mainstream culture of Cold War paranoia and all that, and this is the guy that's basically daring to say like, hey, that's
Yeah,
to say otherwise.
this has basically nothing to do with anything, but I just want to mention there's an animation of Vinny just reading like a chat message talking about like does my it was like my friend got high and asked does a straw have one or two holes, and he's just like having this discussion and like running it through his head and can't figure out like what he thinks or whatever. So I just decided to animate this, and it was animated very fluidly. And there's a comment that's like, why does this look like Dean from the Iron Giant? And the person who made it responded like, I actually did base it off of him.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'll have to show it to you later.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I really like Dean. Not only is he funny, but yeah, he provides like a really interesting like counter perspective. In the form of that character. I think the movie would have been. I wasn't expect. Let me put it this way: I wasn't expecting him to be as important as he was when he showed up like a couple times at the beginning. I knew that Hogarth like snuck away to like feed scrap to the giant or whatever, because that's a thing that happens in the book as well. And there is no Dean character in the book, so I kind of figured that Hogarth just sneaks the giant away to eat scrap, and that's kind of it. Because I don't remember the book super well, but I think it's mostly just Hogarth and the giant for most of it. Or the Iron Man or whatever as it was called originally. So initially I wasn't expecting much out of Dean, and then yeah, he became kind of important, and I really worked with the themes of it.
Yeah. I love the scene of him just very slowly unlocking the shed while the entire army is waiting on him, and he's just
that was so good.
Like just rambling and wasting their time.
He's gotta have been loving that. Like that's yeah. That's
You're gonna take him away from me just as I gave birth? Give me a minute to cut the umbilical, man.
Oh, he's so good. Yeah, and I like the dynamic and kind of the bond that he develops with Hogarth through their mutual care of this giant, and Hogarth himself he's fine. I don't have strong feelings towards him. I think partway through the movie he kind of like develops a bit of a weird like cool 90s kid spunky streak to him that
I think he's just I think it's because he likes hanging out with Dean, and he's just he thinks that he's cool and wants to try to be cool too.
That's fair.
Yeah, because it's you don't really see a whole lot of his personality in this, other than just kind of like the little scamp that's always up to stuff. But there is this there's the part where he drinks the coffee and he's very rapidly
that was a really fun cut.
Yeah, it's just like I got pushed ahead of grade and all the other kids are beating me up or whatever, and if they would just do the homework, and it's like so you kind of I never really got the sense that he was supposed to be the smart kid in class, but no reason he can't be. He doesn't seem dumb.
He's definitely at least crafty. Like he I you know what? I actually really respect that the movie doesn't feel the need, even though it does spell out a lot of other stuff, it did not feel the need to spell out what was going on with Hogarth. You see him put on the helmet, and you're like, why is he wearing a helmet to bed? And then the question answers itself if you know, as you watch more. I don't want to say if you pay attention. Like I mean, it is still kind of obvious, but the movie, you know, I feel like a lesser movie would have shown him sneaking out and being like, okay, here's the plan. No, you see the moment where Kent thinks he's won, and you're like, no.
Yeah, I
And then
love that.
it all comes
Kent
together
wakes
with
up and he sees the helmet in bed, and then he just walks by. Hey, how's it going? It's like,
right. And then of course everything's going way too well, and they get to Dean and all that, and you know that you know what he did. He snuck out and he worked with Dean. And there was a very subtle moment as well where you can kind of I get the impression that he you know, kind of got it from his mother a little bit, because she shows a moment of being kind of crafty as well when she you know, does the whole it's a trope, but you know, the whole like, I see why Hogarth has been sneaking out, you know, to hang out with you so much, and he's like, oh, you knew about that? She's like, I do now.
oh right.
When, you know, she kind
Yeah,
of
we don't get much of her character, but she's
no, I that's another thing. I would have liked to see more of Annie. I think she was perhaps a bit of an underutilized character with how small the cast is in general. Like they didn't name any of Hogarth's classmates, any of the other like adult characters. It's pretty much just Hogarth, the giant, Dean, Ken Mansley, the mom, and
the
like
general, I guess.
the general / the government as like a unit.
Yeah.
I feel like there could have been a little more focus on Annie, but she's not that important to the plot, I guess. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it would have maybe painted I don't know. I feel
Painted?
like I feel like maybe I would have cared a little more about Hogarth if I got a better sense of, like, it's obvious that, you know, his dad is not in the picture. Based on the timeline, potentially because he died in World War II or something, or shortly after. Hard to say, or maybe he just left. But yeah, I feel like a little bit more.
I think
of a,
it might have been a little too late for that. Hogarth's what, like 12? The movie's I think 57.
Yeah.
But, not sure.
If he's 12 in 57, his dad could have died near the end of the war in 45, because the World War II was 39 to 45. But yeah, I don't know. That's like a minor point, but I think a little more context could have helped flesh out both of those characters. But still, really, really great movie, and not sure what else there is to say about it. Go watch it if you haven't. I regret not having seen it earlier, aside from the fact that, you know, I guess I can give my thoughts here on this podcast, but
yeah, I would like to talk more about it, but it's hard to really, you know, think of anything specific that needs to be covered other than just, you know, here are moments that I liked. I will take a minute to mention a couple little stupid nitpicks I had at the big, like, they were both right at the beginning. It was just the I love the giant off switch at the electric plants, like just
it's a plot device. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. And also, you don't even need to call this a mistake, because it could just be Hogarth not paying attention. But he like straps this flashlight to the front of the gun, and it's in the way of the gun barrel. Like you're not shooting anything with this thing. But,
yeah, I mean that's probably on purpose.
Maybe. But yeah, I'm just, you know, I did, trying to watch it through a more analytical lens and, like, actually trying to remember the sequence of events, I did notice there were a lot of points where there would be kind of a more serious character development scene, and it's like, okay, here's them playing together. But usually those did lead into something else. Like, you've got the one where he's got, like, the ray gun, and then, you know, that leads into the scene where we find out about the defense mechanism, so it's like that scene obviously needed to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was much of a point to the lake scene, but it did lead to the, hey, yeah, you're right in the middle of yeah, which I fucking love. Like,
yeah, that was good. I mean, I feel like that was just a chance for them to... I feel like that was their last chance to really have, like, a lot of fun together and make you know, have a big scene doing something wacky. And the animation of the water flooding the street and stuff, and with the fish all floating across the screen and all that.
And the
That was pretty funny.
squirrel or raccoon
Yeah,
or whatever
the
it was.
raccoon. There were quite a few like laugh out loud funny moments early on and in the middle.
Yeah,
Of the movie as well.
I remember you laughing a lot at the scene of him like it was really just the first parts of when the giant was actually kind of playing with Hogarth a little bit and kind of like miming him or whatever. And
Because it was cute.
I mean, the giant is cute. But, I remember the part where he's like trying to put together the train tracks. You
yeah,
laughed at that part.
That was really good. He's telling him like that's good enough. That's enough. That's fine. Stop. Move.
Yeah,
Go.
and he's lining up this thing super precisely.
And then the thing fucking smacks into him anyway.
How do you feel about there's the ending, as far as I'm concerned, is just a massive tearjerker. I love the way it's done. Like, it all builds up throughout the movie. It's like, Superman's his role model, and he learns about death and everything, and there's the callback to the, me go, or you stay, following, and it's like, that scene is so good. I don't know how to feel about the part where he comes back to life. I like it.
That.
Oh, you did?
I actually didn't even know that was a thing before I saw the movie. I basically knew what the ending was with him, going to stop the missile or whatever. I thought the movie ended on a sad note with the giant dead.
Yeah,
I get it's a kids movie, so they often feel the need to pair back. I think it weakens the message and the tone.
It kind of does. The thing is, like, I like it because it's it's a happy moment or whatever. So I like it for that reason. But I can't disagree. It does weaken the ending a little bit. It also just kind of makes me wonder, like, what does the future hold now? So
yeah,
Giant's still around. He could still, very easily be a problem again later. I don't know. But
yeah, I guess. I mean, you would hope that this would be a learning opportunity for the characters, right? Like especially Ken and the general and all that, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, it also just makes you wonder, like, what do you do when you have a giant robot that can potentially defend you? Like, like, I don't know, but it's like, do we just kind of let him be there and do his own thing, or?
I mean, I don't see why not. He's sentient.
Yeah.
He has a simple intelligence, but he's a living being. He can do what he wants. And yeah, it's I mean, I guess it takes place in the real world. It's a period piece for the Cold War. We know what happened. Like, the Cold War went on for a while and then kind of ended, and then bad stuff is still happening. There's still war and fear and all that type of stuff going on. Right. So it's like the movie can't exactly go like, and then everyone learned their lesson and there was peace. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, we didn't have the giant alien bat to sing its song. But
right.
I do remember at this point, it was at least a couple of years ago when we talked about this movie and you mentioned the book to me and stuff. And I don't remember exactly what you said, but you were describing all that, and then you were like, and in the movie, isn't it just like he stops a missile or something? Like, that seems kind of lame. And I'm thinking like, I mean, I guess in terms of scale, yeah, but it's also like a really
it's because I didn't really know I didn't know the context. I didn't understand the build up to it and the the reason everything was happening and what it meant.
Right.
If anything, I can't really. It's hard for me to put myself in that mind space now that I have seen the movie. I think maybe I thought that the missile was fired by accident or something, or just that,
or like an enemy country had sent it. Or...
No, I'm pretty sure I knew it was just within the American government, but I thought that the plot was basically just they were like, it was either an accident or they were like, oh, we will destroy him. And he was like, no, and then stopped it. Like,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know.
that's the thing. I'm not even like making fun of you or anything. It's just it's funny without the context. Just being like, oh, that's kind
And
of funny.
for the record, I've not now reversed and been like, oh, the book is, this ridiculous, silly thing or
They
whatever.
can
Like,
both
I haven't
stand on
read
their
the,
own.
I haven't read the book in a long time, but I remember it being good. In fact, I'm considering going and trying to find a copy and maybe rent it from the library or something and read it, or more likely just find it online. And yeah, I don't know. It's I'll be interested to compare. But this is definitely something that I'm glad to have experienced.
While I think if there's anything else to talk about, you want to pull up comments?
Sure.
Because I feel like I had something else. I just there's always something that I'll remember later on. But this is the awkward part where we wait.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like editing the thing. Got a big old head of hair.
So okay, somebody mentioned about the Lilo and Stitch animated series is apparently it was a dumping ground for a bunch of like random crossovers and
Yeah,
stuff.
I saw that
Like with
comment. That's very
um
odd. That was
specifically
very
listed with
unusual, Hogarth.
Recess, American Dragon, Kim Possible, The Proud Family, and just straight up real life Regis Philbin from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
So weird.
I feel like I'm gonna just present that comment without comment and then move on.
Yeah.
Because what do you say to that?
Yeah. So I just remembered the saying grace scene. It's so ridiculous. Oh my god.
I feel like I've heard people quote the part about like Satan get out of here and all that type of thing. Let's see.
I know you were saying.
I guess on the topic of the like live action remakes of Disney stuff, somebody said, if they're gonna do more of those, they should at least do the less big ones like Treasure Planet, Atlantis, and the Black Cauldron.
Would be nice.
I've not seen any of those movies. I think at least one of those you said Martin likes, right?
I really like Treasure Planet and maybe Atlantis. I don't remember for sure on that one.
Would you be interested in potentially doing those on the podcast at some point? Because
Yeah,
I haven't
might
seen
as
them and
well.
I've heard good things about them. Could maybe bring Martin on as well to join us for Treasure Planet.
I don't really know how to describe anything like. This is going to sound weird because I don't know how to formulate these thoughts, but those movies have an Iron Giant feel to them, not necessarily in quality, but just in like style. Because Disney usually kind of has its particular style, and I feel like both of those movies are a lot more like, I don't know, because they're not even that similar to each other. But I don't know, they feel like they go off the grain a little bit, and I lump those two together along with Titan
I don't think I actually
Disney.
know anything about the Black Cauldron, by the way.
I
keep thinking of the Sorcerer's Apprentice every time I try to imagine it.
I've never seen the Black Cauldron. That's an older one. I think it's from the 70s.
Okay.
And it's usually considered one of their worst movies. There are people who swear that it's good. I can't say one way or the other. I guess it might be an interesting one to check out just to see what my opinion would be, but I don't have any particular interest in it.
Another commenter says, if you're considering doing bad movies, then Shark Tale would be a pretty funny one to do, especially if it's after the Nemo review. You will learn to fear the Will Smith fish. I saw Shark Tale as a kid. I don't really remember it all too well, but I think, I was 5, so I probably liked it because there were funny cartoon fish.
Yeah. I did not see it, and everything I've seen of it looked pretty bad, but I'm sure it has some redeeming qualities. Right? Yeah.
I think the plan was to eventually do the DreamWorks catalog as well.
Yeah, probably.
Which we still need to put up that poll probably before this video even goes up, and maybe we can include start on DreamWorks stuff as just one of the options.
Yeah, maybe.
Ho ho. Yep. Let's see.
I'm now also just remembering just stupid shit. Like I said, my brother's watched this movie like a million times. Mostly Jonah. He was the one who would just put a movie on, rewind it, rewatch it, rewind it, rewatch it. Like you don't have to fucking keep doing that. But for some reason, there's a scene kind of in the middle of the movie, and then there's another one near the end where, like, you know, the giant's holding Hogarth and running somewhere, and at one point he's like, look out for the cow, and another one he's like, watch out for the bus. And he, for some reason, he thought both of those were hilarious. He's like, stupid cow.
I love people latching onto questionable parts of movies.
Yeah.
This is the best part.
Yeah, it's like, you know, from first Harry Potter movie, fair beater.
Yes. Yeah.
Not bad, Potter. You can make a fair beater.
He doesn't go like that. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention that I actually forgot about is I know that you I'd known for a while as well that you had named your Golurk Hog after the
Hog
bitten off rifle thing from this movie. I was surprised by how little it factored in. I was expecting that maybe I had gotten the impression somehow that the giant with his limited intelligence like thought Hogarth's name was Hog or something, and then I'm like, oh, it's just the evidence that leads. Okay.
Yeah, it is relevant exactly once, but I think it's funny.
I see.
Just the delivery is just like hog.
Some good shit. Yeah, I guess that's all from me.
He shows up. Sorry, just right after that scene, you know, he shows up at the door again, opens the door. He's like, "Kent Mansley, you work for the government." He's like, "I wasn't going to say that this time." So many good lines in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was really funny. And then yeah, it hits a good line between the humor early on and then into the more serious stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure what else there is to say that I haven't already said at this point. So once again, thanks for watching, and
I suppose next thing will be based on a poll.
Then, yeah, we'll see. We'll still probably cover everything in the poll at some point, unless people really don't want us to. But it's just kind of a priority for like.
Yeah, well, you know, if we get like 6 comments that are like, "Oh, don't do this movie," I was like, okay, I guess we won't.